Hi guys, welcome to this module on Microsoft Visio. In this module we're going to look at how to create some shapes that you might not find in any of the stencils. So first of all, I have a stencil called Mechanical which I've created, and just to remind you how you do that, basically you can go to More Shapes and New Stencil and create your own blank stencil, and then once you've created a stencil you can go Open and then it will list your stencils. So there's mine, Mechanical, which I've already opened. Now on this stencil I've got some shapes that I just want to recreate. So if I bring this one on, it's quite small, that one, so I just need to zoom the screen up quite a lot actually. You can see there that there's two inverted triangles and a rectangle on top. Just about see that. So as I make this, just make it a little bit bigger so you can see. So first of all I'm going to try and do that one. Now in this template I have not got the basic shapes, so I'm going to go More Shapes, General, Basic Shapes, because that gives me these symbols. Triangles is what I'm after. So let's get over a triangle, bring that on here. It's going to come on quite large, as you can see. Spin that round. Now I'm going to use my control key and copy that, just drag it over, copy, let go of the control key, and then I now need to flip this round. So go to position and flip horizontal so it points back, and then just try and position that nose to nose a bit more. It's probably just come apart a little bit. That'll do. And then now I want a rectangle, so I bring a rectangle on like so. Just move up a little bit, and then from that rectangle I need this line. So I can use a connector actually, so I'll use a connector. So it'll go from the connector point to the connector point in the middle. Just take that off for a minute. Now there is not lined up, so if I move that to the side a little bit, still not lining up. So let's try and sort this out. So that's lined up, but these two are now not lined up, so push this back a bit. There you go. So all three things are now lined up exactly how I want them. If I highlight all four shapes including the line, I can then group, and then they become one thing. Now if I need to add that to my stencil, I can activate my stencil and just drag that shape, or that new shape, onto my stencil, open it, and there it goes. I'll just call that test because I can remove that at a later date. So that's that one. Now this one, which I've called Booster Pump, is again something I've created from scratch. So if I hold it up there, that's just basically a circle sitting on a triangle. Back to basic shapes, bring a circle on and then a triangle like so, and then send the triangle back, so you then create that shape, and then select group, and again repeat the process, adding these shapes to your stencil, which I'm not going to do for this one, so I'll just delete that one, and I'll delete these two as well while I'm at it. Now the next one is when I draw a line. So if I draw a line, that'll do, and then a line coming across it, you'll notice that there's a little jump point there and there. So every time I do a line across this horizontal line, there's a little jump over the line. So to do that, I selected Design and then Page Setup, and onto layout and routing, and then this is where I selected that option to add jump lines. I'll cancel that one off, delete these lines, oops, put my pointer tool back on, delete all these lines. Now let's have a look at the next one. So this one, now when I first tried to do this, I couldn't do it because I tried to go and do basic shapes, rectangle. So there's my rectangle, and then I copied that with the control key and tried to spin that round, and then positioned it on top like so. But then I've got this line. Now I want to get rid of this line. Now I couldn't actually get rid of this line by doing it with these triangles, so what I ended up doing was drawing the whole thing manually myself. So I shall just show you how I did that. I used the line tool. So basically draw a line, come across, come up, come back across, and then come up, and then back across, and then put the pointer tool back on. And it's not as perfect as that, but that is how I did that shape. Physically drew it with the tools. Now if I go back to mechanical, let's have a look at some of these other ones. Now one of the features I had was this one and that one. So two different types of valves. So this one is a triangle inside a rectangle with a little line across the top, and there is a triangle with the line, which I can spin around like so. Now if I try and recreate these two, so first of all, back to basic shapes, triangle, bring a triangle on. So in this one I need a line across the top, so a line not all the way across the top, and then position that line so it touches, move it to the right a little bit, left a little bit, and just take that off. Now if I put the grid on here, this makes it a little bit easier I suppose to make this sit central, and it looks about central. So then I can group these two, back to home, group, so they become one thing. I can make it small. Now I require this shape, so that's a rectangle, make it smaller, just spin that on its end, and then this needs to sit inside of that rectangle, so it needs to be a lot smaller than that. Spin it round like so, move it inside. The line colour also needs to be blue for this example, and that's gone to the back, so send to back. And I think the line is also bold, or different thickness, not bold. Yeah, different thickness. Okay, so then this has got a line coming in and a line going out. So that was, let's try the connector tool first off. I don't think I use the connector tool, but soon find out. No, I didn't. So let's take that off. Use the line tool. So line tool from the bottom and then the top. Pointer tool back on. Highlight all of these shapes. Select group, group, and then resize that shape like so. And all of these shapes, I mean the box there was a bigger line as well, a thicker line. All of these shapes that you create, you can then make sure you get the dimensions correct before you add them to your stencil, but then you can add them to your stencil. If I go back to this one, and all the rest I think are fairly straightforward. What's this one? A rounded. That shape is part of basic shapes. The hourglass I've already done. This box. Okay, this box, because this is indicating a tank, a water tank, and then you have these lines sitting on top of that to indicate the water level in that tank. You can bring them in a little bit, make it smaller, like so. So that's the water level. So basically that is just two drawn shapes. So again, I'll try and recreate that. I used the line again. So draw the horizontal, and then your outside tank or inside tank, it doesn't matter which way you do it. So that's the first one. There's your, let's say it's the inside tank, and then you come outside, use these little grid lines that you've got on the screen now. Oops, let go. So you have to let go, come across to these little squares, and then up like so. Pointer tool off, highlight, group, and then this one is just the water level. So these are just lines that are drawn and then grouped. Let's try and do that one. Horizontal line, another horizontal line, not as long, and then a third horizontal line, not as long again. Now you can move these up and make them smaller, join them together. It's totally up to you how far apart you want these, but the process is the same. Group, and then all of these shapes you can add to your stencil, and then you save your stencil for future use. So when you create a stencil, these are obviously things that I have drawn, but also you could put shapes from other stencils into yours, or you could create other stencils, personal ones, and add pre-formatted shapes to those. Whichever way you do it, what you're trying to achieve is a place where all the main features that you use are there. So that's the end of this session. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will catch you on the next one. Thank you for your time.